Good morning, everyone. It is now just past 7:30 in the morning and it's already 81 degrees and it's supposed to be 101 today. So we are just heading into our 3-digit numbers. We've actually had 3-digit numbers the last couple of days and we're going to be having 3 digits for the next several days for the next week. So I want to just get right into this video and start reconfiguring this drip line irrigation, because even this time of day I wouldn't be able to be out here for 2 hours, 1.5, 2 hours watering the garden. So I'm going to try to get this done as much as I possibly can today. I'm hoping to get it all installed and tested out today, but I may have to do it in 2 days. So this is my current 2-zone timer for my irrigation. I have the 2 zones here and then I have a 1 zone here. And what I'm going to be interchanging this out with here are these 2 4-zone Resmo drip time irrigations. And then to split off the zones, I have this splitter here, this brass splitter. And I got this as well in case I need to put this on here to add the other 2 zone if I need that one too as well. This right here goes to the drip irrigation. So I need to split this. This goes right here. This right here goes to the drip irrigation. So I need to split this. This goes right here. Here that comes from the drip irrigation. I've got it split here, and this comes all the way around to the stairs, and it moves back towards the side of the stairs, and it's feeding these 3 beds right here. And then it's got a tube that goes along the ground here, goes all around the bed there, and comes all the way around the bed here as well. And then it feeds these little emitters. So the first thing I'm going to do here for this main line, I'm going to keep these 2 here that goes to this cinder block bed and the green stock. But this one right here, I'm splitting off to make its own zone. Give it a little extra slack. There. Good morning, everyone. It is early in the morning, and I have to say, I am so ecstatic that the triple digits are gone. They're over. They may come back, but as far as I can tell, for the next 7 days, it's going to be in the mid 90s, which I am okay with because that's a huge difference than the 105, 103 that we were having. So I'll take that any day. But I'm out here early today because I have been working on the drip irrigation when we were having the triple digit numbers, and I was hoping to film it, but it was just too hot for me and for the camera. So I would come out here about every 45 minutes to an hour, and I would spend literally 5 to 10 minutes out here and just taking each step one by one, and I would just do that all day long for a couple days because it was just too hot to be out here. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk you through and show you what I've gotten so far. Okay, so just kind of a view here. I have all the tubings coming from all my zones. So they're all being guided all the way back here to the drip irrigation timer. I don't have the two 4-zone timers hooked up yet because they're pretty heavy, and I wanted to have Pete anchor in the timers into the wall so that they wouldn't put weight on the spigot. So I'm waiting for that to happen, and I'll record that when that does occur so you can see how he installs it. But basically I do have, these are the tubings that will be going into the new timers. I've got these here to attach to the drip line timers here when they're installed. Not this specific timer here. So one of my zones here, this zone right here, is coming from the back area of the garden. This is the first one I rerouted. This right here used to be connected to the drip tubing with the green stalk, but I went ahead and chopped it off and made an elbow joint here to go and lead to the drip line. Now this here is going to water this back little area here that was recently trenched, all this right here, as well as all these container pots down there to container row. That's all going to be contained into one zone. So I have to say that having everything already pre-installed pretty much made it very easy. I had things daisy chained, so I just had to cut certain areas and just reroute the tubing. So fortunately, it didn't take me that long. All the hard work was already done. As an example, and don't mind this little hole here, that was where my Cosmos was, the die that I had to pull up recently. But all these beds right here, all these 2x4s, 2x2s, 4x8s, all these were all daisy chained together. This, you can kind of tell where I dug up the tubing right here, but this used to be connected to here. I disconnected it and added a goof plug to this one. This needs to go in a little bit tighter, but, and then I added an elbow here, and this tube now leads all the way back to the drip timer. This right here is still connected to this bed. So these two beds here are going to be one zone. And these two beds, this 2x4 and 4x8, are connected as well. This used to be connected here to this other bed here. And then I put an elbow here at this corner, and this will be going to the drip connection timer against the house. Now over here, I had these container beds all going along. As you can tell, that's the plug for the tubing that went to here that I cut off, and I added a goof plug here and a goof plug here, and this goes along the house. And oh my goodness, this is my first birdhouse gourd. Oh my goodness, yes, I'm so excited. But anyway, yes, and so this is the trench along the greenhouse bed. This main tubing right here is feeding all of this trench area, and I've got emitters going to the sage and to the nettles, and it'll be also doing all these container pots along here. And so that's what I've done so far during the triple digit weather that we had. I only have, oh yes, I didn't show you the back 40. Now with the back 40, I haven't connected that yet, just because I need to do a little further thinking on this and decide exactly how I'm going to do this. But I do have some tubing here, but I have these tubings here that I was using for just, oh my gosh, the cardinals. Can you see that? Oh my gosh. I don't know, but I think we have a female and a male cardinal that live in our area, or live in our backyard area. I don't know if they're the same cardinals or not, but we have a male and a female, a couple, husband and wife, I like to call them, cardinals that live in our backyard area. And they have been coming to the garden so often lately, and it's just so beautiful to see. But just now, what I was trying to capture was, it looks like he was chasing her around. I'm not sure if they're just frolicking in the morning light or he's mad at her or what, but he was just like chasing her around, and they were just hopping around the garden, and it's so cute. I love my garden. It's beautiful. It's all of God's splendor, and it's just right here in our little space. I love it. God is good. As I was saying, I have this extra tubing here that I was using to lead from the garden to the back of the property back here. And I was trying to lead the tubing to this back area outside our property line. Right here, I was trying to grow some grass, some of the wispy grass. You can kind of see that a little bit down there. And right here where this green patch is, that, let me see if I can zoom in. Yes. That green patch right there is lemongrass. So I threw some seeds back here. I had some extra, and lemongrass gets pretty big, so I thought I'd just try it here to see how it would do. And I didn't think they would do very well because I thought the weeds would overtake it. And for a while they were, but it looks like they've overtaken the weeds. And they are now actually, sorry, I just had some guy looking at me walking down the street. I'm a little nervous now. I got to start over. There's a gentleman walking down the street here, taking his morning walk. And I just realized he was watching me as I was recording, and I just got nervous and just freaked out. But he's almost gone. Okay, sorry. I'm still not quite used to doing things in front of people on camera. So the lemongrass and the grass, the wispy grass that I forget what it's called. I'll put a name of the grass here. It was just so beautiful. It is taking over the weeds, so I'm a little happy about that. But right now, because I kind of let it go, it is a hot mess. So I got to figure out what I want to do with that and just kind of clean it up a little bit. But my idea is to, on the other side of the fence line where I just showed you, about 3 feet out, maybe 4 feet out from the fence line, I want to plant a bunch of wildflowers there, sunflowers there, and just kind of create a living barrier between us and the streets. So just like the gentleman walking by watching me, hopefully I could have some tall flowers and plants growing on that side of the fence that something like that wouldn't throw me off my game. But right now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is water the garden and head inside before it does start getting a little bit hotter. And I will show you, probably later on today, Pete is going to be installing the drip timers against the wall. So I'll definitely record that before I post this video. But yeah, so that's what's been going on for the last few days during the triple digit heat wave that we had. Sorry I couldn't really show you all the steps as I was doing them, but it is what it is. But yeah, so thanks so much. I will see you soon and have a blessed day. Good morning. It is a later morning than I usually am out here, but fortunately it's not too hot. So I want to take time today and just walk you through the drip irrigation lines since Pete installed the timers for me last night. I was going to try to do this last night, but I just got too hot, so I thought I'd take you along this morning. I haven't had a chance to kind of look through what is working, what needs to be adjusted. So my major concern, and Pete has already warned me about this, is that our town has very low water pressure, which is not a good thing for drip irrigations. So I'm actually starting to see that as a problem with my current drip irrigation. I would say probably 60 to 70% of my drip irrigation lines work just fine, but those are things that I have to address, and I'm going to show you what that is. Like in the zones where I have these two 3x8s as well as these two other beds, the 2x2s and the 2x8s, these here have the shut-off valves for each bed. These shut-off valves right here for each bed. So because of the water pressure, I cannot have all the beds running at the same time on the zones. So what I need to do is to allow each bed to water for a set amount of time, reset it for the next bed, let that run for a set amount of time. So yes, it's not completely what I was envisioning or hoping, but again, I'm thankful because I don't have to walk through the garden and hand water every single bed, every single container pot. The good news is though, for the containers along the container row, as well as the containers that also lead in the front of the garden and the greenhouse, those I can actually just set and forget, because those I don't have to set at different times. So there is some areas where I can run two beds at the same time. But let me walk you through that. So here in the case of the beds that I have 4 beds attached, these are the 3x8s and the 2x2 and the 2x4 beds. What I'm going to have to do for this zone here, which is on zone 2, for example. All right, so right now I want to set the timer for zone 2. It is 10:03 right now, and I want for zone 2, I want this to start, let's say 10:04 for 15 minutes and every day. I'm going to turn this on, so at 10:04 it's going to start the zone, and I'll show you. Okay, so right now on zone 2 for the 2 3x8 beds, I have this first 3x8 bed running right now. In the meantime, this bed here, the 2x4, or excuse me, the 2x8 and the 2x2 over here are shut off, and so is this other 3x8 bed, because I can't run all these beds on this one zone. So I'm going to let this zone run this bed for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to reset it again. So then I'll have to run it a second time to run this other 3x8 bed, and then run it again a third time to cover this 2x8 and the 2x2 bed over here, so I can run these two beds together. So again, I'm going to have to run that zone 3 times in order to cover the whole entire bed. It's not ideal, but again, it's better than going through each bed, hand watering every bed. And some of the things I need to address is how the water overshoots. These have to be adjusted, and I've learned just by experimentation that I can insert a screwdriver or like a small little poker and redirect them and make them aim where they're supposed to aim, so they're not overshooting their square area. Okay, so this is the second run on zone 2, and this is the other 3x8 bed. I have placed the spigot area and where it comes into the bed in the center of the long end, the 8-foot side. I did that because this used to be over here on this side, and I noticed that when the spigot was on this end here would get watered very, very well and thoroughly, but as it moved down this end, the pressure was weak and it was just barely coming out as a minor drip. So I put the spigot in the center, hoping that it would just disperse through the whole entire bed evenly. Well, that isn't the case, and Pete has let me know it's because we have poor water pressure. So this is watering strongly where the emitters and the irrigation is introduced into the bed. And as it goes towards this end and this end, the pressure gets weaker, so it's not watering as it should. So also in this bed over here, I did notice that even though the pressure in this bed is a little bit better than this bed over here, towards this end, since the spigot is on the other end of the bed, over here, it's not as strong of a pressure. This isn't too much of a concern because I'm still getting pretty good water pressure here where it is watering the squares. It won't be as watered as it is on this end of the bed, but in future reference, I just have to know things that need more water will go on this end, and things that need less water will go on this end, perhaps, unless I can figure out a better way to get the pressure to build up. Now, for this bed here, where it's just obviously, it's not gonna work, I'm gonna probably have to go, I'm thinking, to a 1/4-inch tubing from the spout and just have emitters going through the bed with a 1/4-inch tubing. And what I mean by emitters, and this is what I mean by emitters. This right here that will sprinkle the water out to surrounding areas, I may have to add those to this bed. So this is the 2x2 bed here, and this is performing as it should. And over here is the 2x8 bed, and this also is performing as it should. So now these are overshooting the container pot, so I just need to control these emitters so that it shoots just within the pot by turning this here a little more, a little more, little more. There. So now it's just hitting inside the pot. I'm going to let these run for 15 minutes. I'm going to do the same thing with this emitter over here. Now over here, I'm not going to worry about adjusting these too much, but it looks, yep, here we go. And it looks like over here I have sprung a leak. Well, not actually a leak, but the irrigation tubing is not bent properly. So I'm leaking some water here, so that's going to affect the pressure. So I need to address that. And so what I'm going to do here in this bed is just add some more of these emitters throughout the entire bed for more even coverage. And that way too, they're also movable throughout the bed, and I can put them where they're needed. Okay, so I just want to kind of pop in right now because as I was editing this video, I realized that I've lost footage. And there's some of this audio here that's very incoherent. So I just want to kind of pop in and cover what was lacking and just kind of fill in the blanks. So what I mentioned earlier is that we are dealing with very low water pressure in our area. So that's causing my drip irrigation system not to function at its best. Very frustrating after all the work. Which is another reason why I'm kind of glad that I didn't invest in the pre-manufactured square grid irrigation system, because that would have been more of a loss. So, and if there's anyone actually who I'm thinking about, if there's anybody out there watching this who is also in a low water pressure area and has a successful drip irrigation system, if you can drop a comment down below and let me know how you're battling with that and how you're able to overcome that, I would appreciate it. But I think in the meantime, what I'm going to go ahead and do is just go ahead and I think replace some of the grids that are in the lower emitting areas and replace those with the emitters with the 1/4-inch tubing. So just probably cut off some of the grids and the pre-drilled holes that I was using for the water to be dispensed. I may use couplers in that and just attach them to the 1/4-inch tubing with the drip emitters and see how that goes. And I'm hoping that that will be sufficient for now. So that was what I was trying to cover in the video that was lost and the audio that was incoherent. And so now back to our video with some final closing words. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off, say thank you so much for indulging me with your time. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish out here tying up some tomatoes, which are still producing, and go ahead and make some breakfast for my honey bunny. Thanks so much for joining me. I always appreciate you. Have a blessed day. Bye.